for the very latest. Young-wook Ryu, Assistant Professor at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. He joins us now from Singapore. Now, Professor, perhaps you could just enlighten us and help us understand that as far as we know, they have actually North Korea has fired so many missiles in the last 24 hours. Can you just help us understand what exactly is the message that they're trying to send out? Are they signaling probably another nuclear test?
Well, so as far as I know, a few months ago, there was diplomatic engagement between the U.S. and North Korea, which probably didn't go very well. And I think after that diplomatic failure, North Korea started conducting missile tests. So to me, that this is the typical North Korean style diplomacy known as brinkmanship. And Pyongyang's message is very clear. It's to create pressure on the U.S. and South Korea to initiate contact and negotiation with Pyongyang.
But also, I mean, according to South Korean officials, the latest intercontinental ballistic missile, it failed mid-flight, according to those officials. So does that essentially mean that their missiles haven't quite advanced as much as expected?
Right. So, we know that North Korea possesses nuclear weapons, as well as a range of short and medium range, as well as intercontinental ballistic missiles. So Hwasong-17 is an intercontinental missile, which appears to have failed mid-flight. Now, despite the technology may not be perfect, I think North Korea, when it tested Hwasong-17 last time, it was successful. So, one should not take North Korea's missile capabilities lightly. And I do think that North Korea's missile capabilities are quite advanced.
That is certainly quite worrisome. And all of these missile launches coming on the back of Seoul and Washington carrying out their own largest ever joint air drills. And some experts are saying that the F-35 stealth fighter jets, which, the U.S. And the partners are using, is actually a big concern for Kim Jong-un.
Sure. I mean, so North Korean radar system is not very advanced. So if the U.S. or South Korea dispatches stealth fighter jets, then it becomes a big concern for North Korea. Now, I think this time the response taken by South Korea and the U.S. towards North Korea's provocation was slightly different than the previous response. So in the past, usually they issued strong verbal warnings against Pyongyang, but this time South Korea dispatched fighter jets which fired missiles in the maritime zone above the maritime boundary between the two Koreas. And as your report has highlighted, both South Korea and the United States have decided to extend their air joint exercise. Now, all of these responses are obviously designed to send out a very strong resolve to Pyongyang that Pyongyang's brinkmanship diplomacy will not extract any concessions from either South Korea or United States.
Yeah, which actually leads me, Professor, to my next question about, what are the sort of bargaining chips you have on the table now? And, is there any indication who will likely back down first? Because at the moment, it seems they're just going head to head, which, really isn't the first time that something like that has happened.
Yeah, so very little bargaining chips for both sides, right, to entice the other to make concessions. And for, I think, ordinary people, what's going on the Korean Peninsula does raise tensions. But for many experts who've been following the Korean affairs, this is nothing new. So, I think both sides will continue to do whatever they wanted to do until the steam runs out. I think, once again, the purpose is to reinitiate negotiation and diplomacy to deal with the North Korean nuclear weapons situation. And of course, North Korea is not willing to budge. And this time, both South Korea and the United States are also holding the ground. I think, if there's some movement towards diplomacy, that's when we will see a gradual rundown of these military exercises.
Well, it's been very good talking to you, Young-wook Ryu, Assistant Professor at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, Singapore. Thank you for your time.